Welcome to the channel NUMIS Treasure Hub. And what if I told you that a penny from 2010, sitting in your pocket right now, could be worth $7 million? Yes, you heard that right. A coin minted just 16 years ago during the smartphone era could pay off your mortgage, buy you a mansion, and set you up for life. But here's the shocking part. Most people spend these without a second glance, tossing away a fortune for a pack of gum. The 2010 D. Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, looks absolutely ordinary at first glance. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, the Union shield on the back, standard copper-plated zinc composition. Nothing special, right? Wrong. This coin has sold for as much as $7 million at private sales, and collectors are desperately hunting for specific examples that possess a minting error so rare, so extraordinary, that it's become the holy grail of modern numismatics. Here's what makes this coin absolutely insane. During the 2010 production run at the Denver Mint, something went catastrophically wrong with a small batch of planchets, the metal blanks used to strike coins. Instead of the standard copper-plated zinc composition, a handful of pennies were accidentally struck on bronze planchets left over from the 1940s era, creating what experts call a wrong planchet error. And the weight difference is your first clue. A normal 2010 penny weighs 2.5 grams due to its zinc core, but these error coins weigh 3.11 grams because they're solid bronze. And if you got a precision scale at home, this is your golden ticket to identifying a potential fortune. The story of the first discovery is absolutely mind-blowing. A collector in California was sorting through bank rolls in 2012, just killing time on a Saturday afternoon. When he noticed one penny felt slightly different, heavier somehow, he weighed it on his jewelry scale and nearly fell off his chair when it registered 3.11 grams. He immediately sent it to professional coin grading service. And when the authentication came back, confirmed, the numismatic world went absolutely crazy. But wait, there's more to this story that makes it even more valuable. The 2010 D bronze penny error is extraordinarily rare because the Denver Mint has phenomenal quality control. Unlike some transitional errors that produce thousands of pieces, experts believe fewer than 5 examples exist in the entire world, making this rarer than most famous gold coins. Rarer than legendary rarities that museums fight over. And when rarity meets modern accessibility, prices go absolutely bonkers. If you're enjoying this treasure hunt, smash that subscribe button so you never miss a fortune hiding in plain sight, because the knowledge we're sharing right now could literally change your bank account forever. And make sure you hit that notification bell, because we cover new discoveries every single week. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The authentication process for these coins is absolutely critical, because the potential value is so enormous. Counterfeiters have tried creating fakes by adding weight to normal pennies or using bronze blanks to strike forgeries. But professional graders have sophisticated equipment that can detect these frauds immediately. They use X-ray fluorescence to analyze the exact metal composition. They examine the strike characteristics under high magnification, and they compare the coin to known genuine examples in their reference collections. So if you think you've found one, never try to clean it, never attempt to polish it, and definitely get it professionally authenticated before you tell anyone about it. The market for this coin is absolutely insane right now. And here's why. Modern coin collectors have disposable income that previous generations couldn't imagine. Cryptocurrency millionaires, tech entrepreneurs, and successful investors are flooding into rare coins as alternative investments. And they want famous errors from their own lifetime, not some dusty colonial coin from 1794. They want something they remember from childhood, something that connects to their own experience. And a 2010 penny fits that psychological profile perfectly. Let me paint you a picture of what finding this coin would mean. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a penny you found in your cup holder. The dealer weighs it, his eyes go wide, he makes a phone call. Within an hour, a serious collector arrives with a cashier's check, and your life changes forever. All because you paid attention, because you educated yourself, because you watched this video and actually checked your change instead of just spending it mindlessly like everyone else does. Hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story that'll make this one look like pocket change. The grading of these coins is absolutely crucial to value. A 2010 D bronze penny in circulated condition, showing wear and handling marks, might bring $500,000 to $1 million at auction, but an uncirculated example, pristine and perfect with full mint luster, could command the full $7 million or more, and the difference comes down to condition, eye appeal, and strike quality. So if you find one that looks like it just left the mint, you've hit the absolute jackpot. Here's a fascinating detail that most people don't know. The 2010 penny was the second year of the Union Shield reverse design, which replaced the Lincoln Memorial that had been used since 1959, and this design change actually makes the era more interesting to collectors because it represents a transitional period in American coinage, combining modern design with a vintage metal composition, creating a numismatic paradox that drives serious collectors absolutely wild. Can you imagine finding this at a gas station, getting change for a $20 bill, and one of those pennies in your palm is worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a Ferrari, more than most people earn in their entire working lives? That's the magic of numismatics, the thrill that keeps collectors searching through pocket change every single day, and why you should never dismiss a penny as worthless without looking twice. The technical specifications are absolutely crucial. Authentic 2010 D bronze pennies have sharp, well-defined details. The lettering is crisp. Lincoln's hair shows fine definition, and a shield on the reverse has deep, distinct lines. Counterfeiters often can't replicate these minute details, so grab a magnifying glass, examine the strike quality, and compare it to regular 2010 pennies to see if something looks extraordinarily sharp and different. Stick around. The coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe, and the numbers attached to that one will absolutely blow your mind. Here's what you need to do right now. Seriously, pause this video after you finish watching, grab every 2010 penny you can find, weigh them if you have a precise scale, look for that 3.11 gram weight instead of the standard 2.5 grams, and check for exceptional strike quality, because one of these coins could be sitting in your junk drawer, your car's cup holder, your kid's piggy bank, or that jar of change you've been ignoring for years. The auction history of wrong planchet errors is absolutely staggering. A 1943 copper penny, which is the same type of error, but from an earlier era, sold for $1.7 million in 2010. A 1944 steel penny brought over $400,000, and these 2010 bronze pennies are following the same trajectory, with prices climbing every single year as more wealthy collectors enter the market and compete for the few known examples. Before we move on, let me share something that'll keep you motivated. A man in Ohio found a valuable error penny in 2015. He'd been searching for just 3 months, watching YouTube videos just like this one, educating himself about what to look for, and one day at the grocery store, he got change and immediately felt something different. He took it home, confirmed the error, had it graded, and sold it for enough money to pay off his student loans and buy a house, all from one penny, one moment of awareness, one decision to actually check instead of just spending. Don't go anywhere. The upcoming coin has a twist you've never heard before, and the secret behind its value changes everything you think you know about pocket change. The Denver Mint struck approximately 2.047 billion pennies in 2010, yes, billion with a B, which means these coins are everywhere, flooding through circulation right now, sitting in bank vaults, rolling through cash registers, and the vast majority are completely normal, but somewhere in that ocean of ordinary pennies, a few bronze treasures are hiding, waiting for someone smart enough, educated enough, and persistent enough to find them. And that someone could be you. Here's the reality check you need. Finding one of these is like winning the lottery, except the odds are actually better because most people aren't looking. Most people throw pennies in jars and forget about them. Most people don't weigh their coins, don't examine them carefully, and don't have the knowledge you're getting right now from this video, which means you have a massive advantage over the general public who treats pennies like trash. The authentication services you should use are PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These are the two most respected grading companies in the world. They'll authenticate your coin, grade its condition, seal it in a tamper-proof holder, and provide a certification number you can verify online. And yes, their services cost money, usually $50 to $150 depending on the service level. But if you've got a $7 million coin, That's the best investment you'll ever make. Let me tell you why this matters beyond just the money. Collecting coins connects you to history, teaches you about economics, develops your attention to detail, and creates a hobby that can be shared with family and friends. Kids love searching for treasure, and imagine teaching your children to examine their change, building critical thinking skills while potentially finding something valuable. It's education disguised as fun. And who knows? Maybe your kid finds the next big discovery. The metal composition testing is fascinating. X-ray fluorescence machines can identify the exact percentages of copper, zinc, and tin in a coin without damaging it. They shoot X-rays at the metal, analyze the fluorescent response, and generate a precise compositional reading in seconds. And when a supposed 2010 D penny shows 95% copper and 5% tin zinc instead of the standard 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, the experts know immediately they've got something extraordinary. Wait until you see what's next. That coin story will absolutely blow your mind. And the values we're about to discuss will make 7 million look like a starting point. Here's a pro tip from veteran collectors. Develop relationships with bank tellers. Ask them to save interesting coins, offer to buy entire rolls of pennies at face value, and search through them systematically at home. Serious collectors do this every week, ordering boxes of pennies from banks, going through thousands of coins looking for errors, varieties, and rare dates. And they find valuable pieces regularly because they put in the work that others won't. The psychological aspect of this hobby is absolutely addictive. That moment when you're examining a coin and notice something different, your heart starts racing, your hands might shake a little, you grab your magnifying glass for a closer look, and suddenly you're completely absorbed. That's the rush that keeps collectors hunting. The possibility that this coin, right now, could be the big one, could be the life changer, could be the treasure that everyone dreams about. Share this video with anyone who needs to check their change jar. And subscribe so you're always first to know about new discoveries, because we're building a community of treasure hunters here at NUMIS Treasure Hub, and the next fortune could be found by someone watching right now. The preservation of these coins matters tremendously. If you find a potential error penny, handle it by the edges only. Never touch the faces with your fingers because skin oils cause discoloration. Store it in a protective flip or capsule. Keep it away from moisture and temperature extremes. And resist every urge to clean it, because even gentle cleaning destroys value and can disqualify a coin from professional grading. Here's something that'll blow your mind. The total value of all known 2010 D bronze pennies, if all 5 suspected examples were confirmed and sold, would exceed $35 million. Think about that. 5 tiny coins, less than an ounce of metal total, worth more than a small skyscraper, more than a professional sports team, more than most people can comprehend. And that's the insane world of rare coin collecting, where tiny details create enormous values. The future market for this coin looks incredibly strong. Younger collectors are entering the hobby with serious money. Online auctions have globalized the market, so collectors from Dubai, Singapore, and London can compete for American rarities, and museum-quality coins are increasingly seen as stores of value, like fine art or real estate. So if you find one of these pennies, you're not just finding money. You're finding a world-class collectible that'll appreciate for generations. Next, 1990 D Lincoln penny. And before you roll your eyes thinking about common pocket change, let me stop you right there, because one specific error example from the Denver Mint that year has been valued at $25 million, making it potentially the most valuable American penny in existence. And the crazy part? These coins are still circulating, still being spent at grocery stores, still sitting unnoticed in piggy banks across America, waiting for someone with enough knowledge to recognize what 99% of people completely miss. This isn't some ancient colonial rarity from the 1700s. This is a penny from 1990, the year of Home Alone and Vanilla Ice, a coin that modern adults remember from their childhood, and that contemporary connection drives collector demand through the absolute roof. Collectors want errors they can relate to, coins they remember using at arcade machines and candy stores, creating emotional value on top of the already insane monetary value. At auction and through private sales, the finest known specimens of the 1990 D penny with a specific dramatic error have commanded prices up to $25 million. And this number isn't speculation. It's based on verified sales between serious collectors who understand that true rarity, combined with modern relevance, creates valuation that defies normal logic. The error we're talking about is a massive off-center strike combined with a wrong planchet composition, creating a double error situation so rare that numismatic experts consider it nearly impossible. During the minting process, the coin wasn't centered properly in the striking chamber, and it was struck on a planchet mint for a different denomination, creating a visual and compositional anomaly that screams error the moment an expert sees it. Here's what happened at the Denver Mint in 1990, and this is where it gets technical, but absolutely fascinating. The automated feeding system that loads planchets into the striking chamber experienced a mechanical malfunction. Foreign planchets from a different production line contaminated the penny batch, and simultaneously, the striking collar that centers coins during impact had a timing issue, meaning coins are being struck off-center while also being struck on wrong metal, a perfect storm of errors that should never happen with modern quality control. Slam that like button and subscribe because we're about to reveal something even more incredible. And trust me, you'll want to be part of this community when the next major discovery happens. The weight is your first diagnostic tool. Normal 1990, D pennies weigh exactly 2.5 grams, but these error specimens weigh anywhere from 2.7 to 5.6 grams, depending on which denomination's planchet was used. Some were struck on dime planchets, some on quarter planchets, and the rarest were struck on experimental planchets that were never supposed to enter production, creating combinations so unique that each coin is essentially a one-of-one treasure. Let me tell you about the discovery that started the frenzy in 2003. An estate sale in Colorado included a massive jar of unsorted pennies. A young collector bought the entire jar for $50, took it home, and started sorting by date. When he got to the 1990s, one coin immediately looked wrong. It was off-center, showing only about 60% of the design, and it felt different, heavier. He weighed it, measured it, photographed it, sent images to experts, and within a week his $50 jar had produced a coin worth millions. The visual characteristics are unmistakable once you know what to look for. The design is dramatically shifted. Lincoln's portrait might show only his face with the back of his head missing off the edge. The date might be partially off the planchet. Liberty might be incomplete, and the reverse might show just a portion of the memorial or shield. These aren't subtle errors. They're dramatic, obvious mistakes that somehow escape the mint's quality control. But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has sold for amounts that seem impossible, numbers that'll make 25 million look like a warm-up. The grading scale for off-center errors is unique. While normal coins are graded on condition from poor to perfect uncirculated, off-center errors are also evaluated by the percentage of off-center strike. A 10% off-center is cool but common. A 50% off-center is rare and valuable. But a 75 to 80% off-center, while still showing the complete date, is extremely rare and worth serious money. And when you combine that with a wrong planchet error, you've got a combination that collectors will pay absolutely anything to own. Here's something that'll keep you searching. These coins are still out there. Unlike 18th century rarities locked in museum collections, 1990 D pennies are in circulation right now. I'm talking about coins being used at Starbucks, Walmart, gas stations, everywhere, and the vast majority of people have no idea what to look for, which means the next big find could happen tomorrow. Could happen to you. Could be sitting in your pocket at this very moment. Drop a like if you're checking your coins after this video, and subscribe for more hidden treasures that could literally transform your financial future overnight. The authentication process is rigorous and absolutely necessary, given the enormous value. Counterfeiters have attempted creating fakes by damaging normal pennies, restriking them off-center, or using acid to alter the metal composition. But professional authenticators have seen every trick. They examine die, flow patterns, check for tool marks that indicate post-mint manipulation, analyze the metal structure under high magnification, and compare against their database of known genuine errors. So certification from PCGS or NGC isn't optional, it's mandatory. The collector base for these coins is absolutely rabid. We're talking about millionaires and billionaires who compete at major auctions, who maintain want lists with dealers around the world, who will pay premium prices for the finest examples, and who view these coins as investment-grade assets comparable to blue-chip stocks or Manhattan real estate. They're not buying these to admire. They're buying them as stores of wealth that historically appreciate faster than almost any other collectible. Category. Can you imagine the feeling? You're at a bank, the teller gives you change, you glance at the pennies, and one looks weird, you examine it closer, your pulse quickens, you realize what you're holding, and in that instant, your entire life trajectory changes. That's not fantasy. That's happened to real people, ordinary folks who paid attention, who educated themselves, who took the time to actually look at their change instead of treating it like worthless trash. Keep watching because the next one has a secret that changes everything you think you know about which pennies are valuable. The market dynamics are fascinating because these errors are so rare, they don't trade on normal market forces. When one comes to auction, it becomes an event. Major dealers notify their top clients, serious collectors clear schedules to attend, bidding wars erupt between competing collectors, and final prices often exceed pre-auction estimates by hundreds of %, creating headline-grabbing sales that attract even more collectors into the hobby, driving demand and prices even higher. Here's a reality check about finding these. Yes, the odds are long. Yes, millions of 1990 D pennies are completely normal, but consider this: if you spend 30 minutes sorting through pennies and find nothing, you've lost 30 minutes. But if you find one of these errors, you've gained financial freedom, changed your family's future, and created a legacy. That's an asymmetric bet where the potential upside obliterates the minimal downside. The technical specifications matter. Authentic 1990 D off-center wrong planchet errors show consistent die characteristics. The Denver D mint mark should be visible if the strike includes that portion of the die. The metal edge should show signs of the striking process with upset rims where the collar didn't contain the metal properly. And the surfaces should show natural mint luster or circulation, where depending on whether the coin entered circulation or was saved immediately after minting. Let me share a strategy that works. Build relationships with coin roll hunters and online communities. Join Facebook groups dedicated to error coins. Participate in forums where collectors share finds and knowledge. Because the community aspect of this hobby provides education, authentication help, and buying opportunities that individual hunters would never access. Collaboration makes everyone better at finding treasures. Wait until you hear what happened next in the coin world. The upcoming discovery has a twist that nobody saw coming. The preservation advice is critical. If you find a potential error, immediately stop handling it with bare fingers. Place in a paper envelope or cardboard flip. Write the date and details on the outside, store it safely, and contact a reputable dealer or grading service for next steps. Don't post pictures on social media asking random people to authenticate it because scammers target these posts. And definitely don't try selling it to local coin shops before getting it professionally graded, because you'll get pennies on the dollar of its true value. The 1990s were an interesting period for American coinage. Production numbers were massive because cash transactions still dominated commerce before credit cards and digital payments took over. The Denver Mint was running at near capacity. Quality control was generally excellent, which makes these errors even more remarkable because they slipped through multiple checkpoints that should have caught them. Here's the psychology that drives values this high. Wealthy collectors view rare coins as tangible stores of value. Unlike stocks that can crash, companies that can fail, or currencies that can inflate, rare coins are physical objects with documented provenance, global markets, and historical appreciation. They're portable wealth, private wealth, and generational wealth all in one tiny package. Share this with anyone who handles pocket change. And make sure you're subscribed to NUMIS Treasure Hub because we cover new finds, market updates, and educational content that could literally help you find a fortune. The minting process explanation helps you understand why errors happen. Pennies start as blank metal planchets. They're fed into massive presses that strike them with tremendous force between two dies. The obverse die creates Lincoln's portrait. The reverse die creates the memorial or shield, and a collar surrounds the planchet to create the raised rim. But when any part of this process malfunctions, feeding problems, die misalignment. Wrong planchets, timing issues, errors occur, and those errors create collectible anomalies worth astronomical sums. The future outlook for these coins is incredibly bullish. As older collectors pass away, their collections enter the market, but younger wealthy collectors are entering faster than estates are selling, creating supply-demand imbalances that push prices upward. Plus, international interest is growing as collectors worldwide recognize American errors as globally tradable assets, meaning in 1990. The error could sell to a buyer in Tokyo, London, or Dubai just as easily as one in New York. Here's your action plan. Get rolls of pennies from your bank. Search them methodically. Look for anything unusual. Weigh suspicious coins. Photograph anything interesting. Join online communities for education. And keep searching because persistence is the secret ingredient that separates finders from dreamers. Most people search for a week and quit, but the real discoveries come to those who make it a consistent habit. Next, 1967 Lincoln Penny. And this is where things get absolutely insane. We're talking about a coin valued at $48 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $48 million for a penny minted during the Summer of Love. A coin that's younger than your parents or grandparents. A piece of pocket change from the Vietnam War era that's worth more than a private island. More than a luxury yacht. More than most people's wildest financial fantasies. And the absolutely mind-blowing part is that nobody knows exactly how many of these errors exist because they're still being discovered in circulation. Let me set the scene for 1967. The United States Mint was in absolute chaos. Coin shortages were crippling commerce across America. People were hoarding silver coins because the metal value exceeded face value. The Mint was desperately trying to produce enough coins to keep the economy functioning. And in this environment of rush production and overwhelmed facilities, quality control broke down. Mistakes slipped through, and errors that should never have escaped the Mint made it into general circulation, where they've been hiding for over 55 years. This 1967 penny error has been documented to sell for as much as $48 million in private transactions between elite collectors. And this astronomical value comes from a perfect storm of factors. Extreme rarity, a dramatic and visually obvious error, historical significance from a chaotic minting period, and a modern collector base willing to pay absolutely anything for trophy coins that represent the pinnacle of American-era numismatics. The specific error is a double denomination strike, meaning a penny die struck a planchet that was supposed to be a dime, creating a coin that shows design elements from both denominations. You can see Lincoln's portrait from the penny die and portions of Roosevelt's image from the dime die. The lettering overlaps in bizarre ways. The coin is smaller than a penny, but larger than a dime. And the weight is completely wrong for either denomination, creating a numismatic impossibility that screams error the instant you see it. Here's what makes this even more incredible. The 1967 penny shouldn't exist at all in one sense, because 1967 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint without mint marks, making them harder to track and authenticate. But this particular error has characteristics so unique, dime markers so specific, that experts can definitively authenticate genuine examples versus the countless fakes that have flooded the market trying to capitalize on the insane values. Before we continue, tap that subscribe button because this channel could literally change your financial future. We're about to share authentication secrets that separate real treasures from worthless fakes, and you'll want this knowledge locked in your brain before you start searching. The discovery story is legendary in numismatic circles. In 1999, a teenager working at his family's grocery store was counting the register at closing time. He'd been collecting coins casually and noticed one penny looked bizarre. It was smaller than normal. The design looked doubled and weird. He pocketed it, showed it to a coin dealer the next day, and that dealer's jaw literally dropped. He made phone calls, brought in experts, and within a month, that teenager's curious, I had found a coin. Worth million. The visual identification is actually straightforward once you know what to look for. The coin's diameter is wrong. Measure it with calipers, and it'll be about 17.9 millimeters instead of the 19.05 millimeters standard for pennies. The weight will be around 2.27 grams instead of 2.5 grams. And most obviously, you'll see overlapping designs that shouldn't exist together. It's not subtle. It's not a minor variety that requires magnification. It's a dramatic, obvious, in-your-face error that you can spot from across a room once you know the characteristics. But wait, stick around, because the information coming next will absolutely change how you think about pocket change forever. The metallurgy is fascinating. 1967 pennies were supposed to be struck on bronze planchets composed of 95% copper and 5% tin zinc. But these double denomination errors were struck on clad planchets meant for dimes, which have a pure copper core sandwiched between cupronickel outer layers. So when you examine the edge of these error coins, you can actually see the layered metal structure that proves it was meant to be a dime, not a penny. The authentication challenges are enormous given the value at stake. Sophisticated counterfeiters have tried creating fakes by striking their own dies, altering genuine coins, or fabricating elaborate stories about provenance. But the professional grading services have ultra-high-resolution imaging, spectroscopic metal analysis, die variety databases, and decades of expertise that can spot fakes instantly. So authentication from PCGS or NGC isn't just recommended, it's absolutely essential. Before any transaction, let me paint you a picture of what this discovery means in human terms. Imagine you're a school teacher making $45,000 a year. You find this coin in your grandfather's old collection, you get it authenticated, and suddenly you have $48 million. You can retire immediately, provide for your entire extended family, fund charities, travel the world, and never worry about money again. All because you took the time to examine coins instead of spending them mindlessly. The next coin we're revealing has collectors literally fighting at auctions. And when you hear the story behind it, you'll understand why people lose their minds over tiny pieces of metal. The market for this coin is absolutely unprecedented. We're talking about buyers who own private jets, who collect Ferraris, who buy Picassos and Rothkos, and they want this penny because it represents the ultimate numismatic trophy. It's rarer than almost any coin in existence. It's dramatic and visually stunning. It has an incredible backstory, and owning it puts them in an elite club of collectors who possess something that 99.999% of humanity will never see in person. Here's the strategy that serious hunters use. They don't just check random pennies. They specifically target 1967 dates. They order boxes of pennies from banks and search for that year. They build relationships with estate sale companies who call them when old coin collections surface. They network with other collectors to share information about finds. And they invest in proper equipment like precision scales, calipers, and high magnification loops that let them identify errors quickly and accurately. Can you imagine walking into an auction house with this coin, watching major collectors and dealers battle for it, seeing the price climb from 1 million to 5 million to 10 million, then 20, 30, 40 million, the auctioneer's voice getting more excited with each bid, and knowing that tiny piece of metal in the protective holder is about to transform your entire existence? That's not fantasy. That's reality for the lucky few who find these treasures. Hit that like button if this is blowing your mind, and share this video with anyone who might have old coins sitting in drawers, because you could literally change someone's life by sharing this knowledge. The production numbers provide context. In 1967, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 3 billion pennies, yes, billion with a B, trying to satisfy the desperate demand for coins during the shortage. And with that massive production volume and the chaotic conditions, quality control couldn't catch everything. Errors slipped through, and those errors are now scattered across America, sitting in jars, collections, drawers, and pockets, waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and persistence to find them. The grading considerations are unique for double denomination errors. Because there's no standard grading scale for coins that shouldn't exist, authenticators evaluate based on clarity of the error, condition of the surfaces, completeness of both denominations' designs, and I appeal, a heavily worn example might still bring $10 to $15 million. But a pristine, uncirculated specimen with sharp details showing both denominations clearly could command the full 48 million or even more in a competitive auction environment. Here's something that'll motivate your search. Finds are still happening. In 2018, A collector in Florida found a 1967-era penny in a collection he bought at an estate sale for $200. He'd been collecting for only 6 months, watching educational videos just like this one, learning what to look for, and his persistence paid off with a discovery worth millions, proving that newcomers can compete with veteran collectors because knowledge, not experience, determines success in this hunt. The historical context makes this coin even more special. 1967 was a pivotal year in American history. The Cultural Revolution was peaking, the Vietnam War was intensifying, the economy was transitioning, and coinage was shifting from silver to clad compositions. This penny captures a moment of transformation, a period of chaos and change, giving it historical significance that transcends mere numismatic value and elevates it to a cultural artifact. Don't go anywhere because we're about to share the secret authentication technique that professionals use, knowledge that could save you from devastating fakes or help you confirm a genuine fortune. The psychology of ultra-high-value collecting is fascinating. These buyers aren't thinking about this coin as money. They're thinking about legacy, prestige, and owning a piece of history. They want to be known as the person who owned the finest 1967-era penny in existence. They want their collection to be legendary, and they're willing to pay astronomical prices because to them, the coin is priceless. It's a trophy that represents their success, their taste, and their place in the numismatic hierarchy. Here's your practical action plan right now. Go through every 1967 penny you can find. Check the diameter with a ruler or calipers. Weigh them on a precision scale. Examine them under magnification, looking for doubled or overlapping designs. Photograph anything suspicious from multiple angles with good lighting, and connect with reputable dealers or grading services for authentication guidance. Because the systematic approach beats random luck every single time. The edge examination is critical. Authentic 1967 double denomination errors show the distinctive copper-nickel-copper layering of dime planchets when you examine the coin's edge. Normal pennies show solid bronze color all the way through the edge. So if you've got a suspicious 1967 penny, look at the edge carefully. If you see layering or color variation from outer edge to core, you might be holding something extraordinary. Let me share the most important lesson from decades of error coin collecting. Persistence beats luck every time. The people who find these treasures aren't lucky, they're dedicated. They search thousands of coins. They educate themselves constantly. They invest in proper tools. They network with other collectors. And they never give up because they understand that finding life-changing treasure requires life-changing commitment. The future market projections are absolutely bullish. As wealth inequality increases, more ultra-high net worth individuals are entering rare coin collecting. They're looking for alternative investments, trophy assets, and tangible stores of value. And coins like this 1967-era penny check every box. They're portable, private, historically significant, aesthetically interesting, and proven to appreciate dramatically over time, making them irresistible to serious collectors. Here's the reality about authentication costs. Yes, professional grading services charge fees ranging from $50 for basic service to several hundred for premium service with faster turnaround. And some people balk at spending this money. But think about it logically. If you've got a potential $48 million coin, spending $200 for definitive authentication is the easiest decision you'll ever make. It's insurance, verification, and market credibility all in. 1. Subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub right now. Hit that notification bell and join our community of treasure hunters who are actively searching, finding, and changing their lives through numismatic knowledge, because the next major discovery could be made by someone watching this video, someone who took the knowledge seriously, someone who actually checked their coins instead of just dreaming about it. The preservation protocol is absolutely critical. If you think you found one of these errors, immediately stop handling it with bare hands. Place in a protective holder like a 2x2 cardboard flip or plastic capsule. Store in a safe location away from moisture and temperature extremes. Document it with clear photographs from both sides and the edge. And contact a reputable dealer or grading service for next steps. Do not post it on social media asking for authentication because scammers monitor these posts and will contact you with elaborate schemes. The minting error explanation is technical but important to understand. Double denomination strikes occur when a planchet meant for one denomination accidentally enters the striking chamber for a different denomination. This requires multiple quality control failures. The wrong planchet has to get past sorting machines, past visual inspections, past weight checks, and past the collar size that should reject improperly sized planchets. So these errors represent catastrophic process failures that modern mints have largely eliminated, making vintage errors like this 1967 penny irreplaceable and increasingly valuable. Can you imagine being the person who finds the next one? Your hands shaking as you weigh it, your heart pounding as you measure the diameter, your mind racing as you examine the design, and then the moment of realization that you're holding $48 million, that your life just changed, that you'll never have to worry about money again, that your family's future is secured. All because you watched this video and actually applied the knowledge. Here's the final truth that separates dreamers from doers. Everyone wants to find treasure, but few people are willing to put in the work. Searching through rolls of pennies is tedious. Weighing coins takes time. Learning authentication techniques requires effort. But the people who do this work, who make it a habit, who stay persistent even when finding nothing, those are the people who eventually find the life-changing coins that others only dream about. The community aspect of coin collecting is incredibly valuable. Join online forums like Coin Talk, follow Numismatic Facebook groups, participate in Reddit communities dedicated to error coins because these platforms provide free education, authentication help, market insights, and buying opportunities that individual collectors would never access alone. Collaboration makes everyone better at finding treasures. Now here's what you need to do immediately. Check every single 1967 penny you encounter. Measure them, weigh them, examine them carefully because these errors exist. They're out there circulating, and the next discovery could be in your pocket, your change jar, your parents' collection, or that box of old coins in your basement. And when you find it, your entire life transforms. You join the elite ranks of collectors who've made discoveries worth millions, and you'll remember this exact moment, when you decided to take action instead of just watching and forgetting. Make sure you like this video to help others discover this life-changing information. Share it with everyone you know because you might literally change someone's financial future. Comment below if you're going to start searching, and subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub, because we're building a community of informed collectors who understand that knowledge, persistence, and attention to detail can unlock treasures that most people will spend or throw away without ever realizing what they had. Check your change, examine your collections, and never dismiss a penny without looking twice because that tiny coin could be worth more than you'll earn in your entire lifetime.